And good morning, y'all. We're live on the Falcons Podcast on YouTube. Let's bring in Facebook. That's Atlanta Falcons on SI. And we'll bring in X. That's at Scout Kennedy. And then we will get going here on a cool, wet Wednesday morning. Feels like the Pacific. You'd feel right at home here, Nick. In the Pacific Northwest. It's a Seattle type of morning. Good morning, y'all. This is the Falcons Podcast. It is Wednesday. It is another day closer to the NFL Combine, another day closer to free agency, another day closer to the NFL Draft, and another day closer to 2026 kickoff. It'll be here before we know it. Nick, we are beginning our 6th season together on this. That's how fast things go. So when we say it's like, oh man, it seems like it's forever away. No, it's not. This is our 6th year together, Nick, and it feels like, feel like I just met you. So how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little rusty in the live stream podcast stuff because I missed Friday because it was my birthday, 34. So yeah, time flies. And also Saturday night through Monday morning, I think I had food poisoning. So I was horizontal or in the bathroom for much of the Super Bowl, much like the Patriots offensive line, I would say. So that's feeling better now. Luckily, nobody else got it. I'm kind of happy it was just food poisoning because my parents were here and the kid hasn't had anything yet. So we'll take it. I'll suffer if they don't have to. So
you'd gone at least 3 or 4 days without getting sick from your kids, so you might as well add something. You were probably feeling kind of lonely.
It's always something. And yeah, but we're good now. And yeah, things have been busy. I'm really excited for the off season. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for winning. I think, not like you and I were alone on it, Scott, but we were like pretty early on, like Rams and Seahawks. Holy cow. Like these two teams look pretty much different than everybody else. And shout out to them. They're probably one of the best defenses we've seen in the last decade, I would say. And really emphasize, we were tweeting a bit with each other, DMing during the Super Bowl. And I know that a lot of people will come away with the takeaway that, the NFL by and large was down this season, which I think it was, but it was also different. I think that's another thing too. I think it was different this year.
No. So we'll debate on this and we'll never agree on it. You're like, oh man, I love defense. So do I. I love defense. Alabama LSU in that 6-3 game that had like 40 players from the defenses go to the NFL. That was good defense. This wasn't good. This was good defense, but this wasn't like epic all-time defense. This was crap offenses playing to not lose games because they couldn't move the ball against the defense. It's like, oh man, I love a good pitching duel. So do I. But when I'm hitting barrels and they can't do anything with it, that's not good pitching. That's bad hitting. So that's how I felt about this season. Seattle's a worthy champion. They were the best team, I think, by and large, especially Nick, when they get to the playoffs and stop turning the ball over.
Yes.
Then they're a legit Super Bowl champion for sure. With that defense, and they were good enough on offense. But it wasn't a great. I said at the top, there's no great teams, but there were some horrific teams in the NFL this year, which is why we had 10 coaching changes.
I do think, just for, by and large, and just for the rhetoric of it, Scott, the pendulum has swung the other way for the first time in a long time. I think defense is ahead of the offense, and I think we can look at it as a microcosm. For a long time, it's been this, or it has recently been this monoculture of this Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay tree, and what Mike McDonald is doing. I mean, we saw it with Kyle Shanahan versus the Seahawks this year. I don't think the 49ers scored a touchdown against the Seahawks. And where it's really gamed right now, schematically, is that these defenses know how to break every single pass protection rule. So that's probably the next frontier of football right now, because they know how to game and get free rushers every single time. So smart offensive lines and offensive line coaches who are ahead in knowing how to break these down are going to be ahead of the game. So the pendulum, it's been 15, 20 years, I feel like, since it's been.
Well, here's what I was going to say. I was going to say, I think it's also 20 years of Major League Baseball eroding the quarterback play in NFL.
Somewhat.
I've been on that since you've met me, and I've been on that since the early 2005s, because I'd look at these players in the NFL draft or in the MLB draft, and I'd be like, 6'5", 215-pound right-handed pitcher. Rinse and repeat 30 times in the next 40 picks. I'm like, well, hell, there's your pocket passers right there. There's your quarterbacks. They're not going away. They're going to play baseball. But do want to say hello to some folks. I know there's a lot on the minds, and we've talked a lot about James Pearce Jr. We'll answer questions and everything and stuff, and we'll get into it. But I don't know how much deeper we're going to get into it. He's facing 5 felony charges. It all looks bad. Nothing. And the thing is, it's like, well, innocent until proven guilty. Not for work. It's kind of the same thing that people talk about. Well, he's got freedom of speech. Yeah, that means you're not going to face consequences from the government unless you live in the UK. So doesn't mean you're not going to get fired. So this is more like along the lines of a civil suit where you can be not guilty, where innocent and not guilty are not the same thing. You can be proven not guilty and still face consequences from your employer, with conduct. And so I think there will be consequences. How severe will then depend on, some of the legal actions, but depending on how long that plays out, I don't think he gets away without at least a minimum of 4-game suspension. Minimum. I think that's a minimum, even if they plead most of this stuff down.
I mean, it's pretty public and gross, and I would expect that. I would be surprised if we see him at all next season. There's a lot of mandatory sentencing as well in Florida. So
if they do that, though, they don't have to. I mean, I read like 6 crime books a week. A month, and it's always they throw everything at you. And the thing is, it's still public. Again, we know some of this stuff is public. But it then comes on the DA. How political do they want to get? Do they want to be, is it a political DA that wants to make a point and is trying to work their way up the system? Mm-hmm. Or is it a DA that says, like, listen, we don't need this kind of smoke down here where we're going to take, this young black athlete in the South and throw the book at him. We don't need that kind of smoke. Let's plead this down some. Even if he is 100% guilty, which, we don't know. I don't know. So that stuff can be pled down, but that doesn't mean he won't face consequences from the NFL and the Atlanta Falcons. Those are different things.
Yeah, so I would be surprised if we see him this year. I mean, we've seen Rashee Rice with horrible, backtrack and also getting in trouble, and then you got Henry Ruggs, DUI, fatal car crash, and might be out of prison now, but released and ends up going to prison out there in Nevada. So we'll follow it.
And the thing is, in the comments, y'all, I don't really want to get into the whataboutism of this. I don't want to debate the merits of, well, this was worse than that. It's all bad. I don't want to get into the idea of, well, we're defending these actions, if that makes sense, y'all. And I don't want to play whataboutism with this. We can talk about precedents. That's one thing, but I really don't want to play whataboutism with what he did on what we've seen. And then what he's also accused of doing, because it's all bad. It's bad.
I'll just make one statement, Scott. It's what he's accused of and the facts, the statements and that are out there are obviously abhorrent, and we only know what's out there right now. We'll see what the justice system plays out, and we'll go from there and we'll react. Scott and I are not legal experts by any means, and we don't condone it. It obviously goes well beyond football for this, and hoping that everybody involved in it has the best possible outcome and equitable justice is served. That's my final thoughts on it.
The blessing in all of this was no one was hurt. If you can have an affliction of sorts, whether it's emotional management, an addiction of, a drug and alcohol problem. Listen, I've been there. And the good news is, the blessing for me was nobody got hurt. I've got some pretty good scars and stuff, but that's just me. That's on me. I never hurt anybody else, not physically anyway. Emotionally, yes, that's different. That's a different story. But Austin says, good morning. I'm hoping we're talking mock draft. He says, I'm hoping we can do multiple trade downs, turn these 5 picks into 7 or 8, multiple swings at the plate. Yeah, we'll see. I think it's easier to trade down on day 2 than it will be on day 1, especially in this draft. Unless you can get Terry Fontenot another job, then you can call him up and you can trade down pretty easy because he's always looking to come up. But I tease kind of. But that's where we've had luck trading down. Well, we don't have a day one, so that makes it a lot easier. So good to see you. Atlanta Focus says, good morning, Scott. Monday and Wednesday mornings are that much better when y'all go live. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Warden, thank you for being a member. And it gives me a chance also to say thank you to our newest members. We have several that have signed up over the last few days, including Michael Dickerson, Joseph Ham, Jay McClellan, and Lisa Murkow. Apologize if I messed up any of your names, but we've got several new members. I want to say thank you very much. We do members-only content, including now until at least the Friday after the draft, we'll be doing members-only Fridays. So with mock drafts that I'll be doing with all y'all, and sometimes I let y'all make the picks. So appreciate it. And Rusty comes in and says, I know you're going to disagree with this. No, you don't. And it may be to everybody else. He says, but James Pearce Jr. is too young and talented to give up on. Sit him down and tell him if he even gets a speeding ticket, he's done. But I would give him another shot. I haven't made up my mind on this. I'm not banging the table in either direction. Oh, he's got to be gone, or oh, he's got to be back. I'm in full let's wait and see information gathering mode when it comes to people getting in trouble on this type of thing. Now, what I have said and will continue to say is the stuff that we have seen on video looks really bad. And he's been charged with some of the stuff that is really looking bad, and he will not escape any consequences. Even if they drop all the charges, he's not coming out of this scot-free. No pun intended. So, how severe he will, but I've simmered down a little bit to my gut reaction on this, Nick, was he's done. He's done with the NFL. But then you start and think back by precedent. You mentioned two guys where there were fatalities involved, Nick. And one of them, if Henry Ruggs is back in the league, for God's sakes,
yeah,
just cancel that team. But there unfortunately there has been worse where the people, they come back and play. And like I said, I don't want to do a bunch of what about it, but I haven't made up my mind on this, Rusty. I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about it 100%. I really don't. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted on this. Part of it is, Nick, 23-year-old kid, nobody got hurt. Again, that's the big one for me. Luckily,
physically. Yeah.
Sometimes there's a higher power out there looking out for people. And listen, kid, you didn't hurt anybody. Straight get help and get fixed and make something of your life. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't. Mm-hmm. But that's a big one for me. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm gonna let the dog out. I'm gonna be just right back. He's crying at the door.
I'll say some good mornings too. Like AJ, good morning, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Ocala, Florida, horse country. Joseph Smith is here. Good morning, Nick, Scott, and Falcon Nation. That's all of y'all. He says, I see a good opportunity with the Vikings and Steelers and trading down in the second and third in the draft using the value chart. I saw the Packers, too, are right there as well. If I think they're about 52 versus 48, if they want to come up. But anybody really in the next – I don't want to get too low on this. And basically, I don't want to move down – I don't want to move down more than just a couple of spots in the second. That's the lone top 50 pick that you've got. Come the third round, though, I'm a little more flexible on these, Nick. And when I was trading on Friday, I ended up trading down 20 spots and ended up getting like in the third and ended up getting like 2/4 and 2/5 out of it because I traded down twice. I'm like, man, that'd be ideal.
And Adam Schefter just did an interview yesterday. And again, it's talking head season. You're going to hear everything conflicting. We'll find out more at the combine, of course. But coming out of the Super Bowl, he said that teams view this as a lesser draft class on the whole, as well as free agency season. And that while it might be harder for some first round movement, day two, he could see a number of teams looking to trade up and give up 5th, 6th, 7th round picks that they just have no interest in holding on to because the talent there is not that different compared to the UDFA, right? Because the class is smaller, older because of the NIL stuff going on right now. So we'll see how that plays out. But there could be a number of teams, rosters are a little full and they're looking to package late day 3 picks just to get them out of there. Cause like, we don't view these different as the UDFAs that we're going to bring in. So it depends on what team and where you're at in your team building, what you're going to value and whatnot. But I think there will be based on what Schefter said, teams looking to move up from some of those.
Well, that'd be good. And because the Falcons could use multiple players on this. And like I've said, based on NIL, the players I am most happy for are the running backs because they are key players in college for sure. Yeah. They're key players in college. Their impact is greater, I think, than it is, or a little bit more homogenous in the NFL. But they are key players, and they've got such a shorter lifespan as tread on the tire where they get beat up and they can't play as long. Yeah. That I'm glad that the running backs are able to make more money. So the UDFAs, you can get running backs because there's a lot of them out there that are staying a little bit longer. I can get a mature running back for $1 million. That it's kind of a plug and play position for the most part. You know, I think this year, Nick, 2 of the top 5 leading rushers were day 3 guys in the NFL this year. I think Bears and Rams had a couple of guys that were knocking on the door of 1,000 that were like 5th and 7th round picks.
Kyron Williams and Kyle Monangai.
Yep. So it happens. And Curtis, thank you for being a member coming in. It's great to see you this morning. I hope you were doing well. Says I guess we'll get to see if 2020. I have to do the math on this. 2024. That was the redshirt class. That's how we'll remember. 2024 was the Falcons redshirt class. If 2024 3rd-round draft pick Braylon Trice is worth anything, that's a true statement because if he can't get on the field, then we get an answer, and if he gets on the field, then we'll get an answer. So, you go 3 years without playing. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people. Oh, and remember, Braylon Trice will be back. A 3rd-round draft pick with 2 season-ending injuries. We'll see. But if he can provide anything at all, some depth, and become a 4th edge on this team, because I think that was always the plan, Nick, was, okay, he's going to come in and he's going to replace either Ebiketie or Leonard Floyd as 3rd/4th in the rotation. But now there's Jalen Walker, and frankly, Jalen Walker battled injuries as a rookie too. So this went from a deep edge class that set a franchise record for sacks to banged up Jalen Walker, who's battled injuries. That's what we're down to right now.
And a big takeaway from the Super Bowl, Scott, and just football in general right now, it's always been a truth. But if you look at your defensive line, you need to look at them like hockey lines, right? Like you need to be too deep. There's no positional group there's as many snaps available, and you want to collect as many different body types and skill sets as across the defensive line. So while, Walker and Pearce sounded good, if you don't feel like you have guys that you'd be comfortable playing 50% of the snaps 4 deep, you want to keep looking. And that was true probably, we talked about it before all this bleep hit the fan, Scott, last Wednesday. I'm like, edge is valuable still, and I know it's rotational position. Oh, we got these 2 guys. I don't care. Like, keep hitting the bleeping quarterback. And the key to football on defense is so simple and stupid. If you can generate pressure with 4, you're going to be probably pretty freaking good. And how do you do that? Unless you have a Myles Garrett all-pro, first-ballot Hall of Fame type. We've seen the last 2 seasons. Have they had that type of rusher on the Eagles line? Maybe with Carter, but we'll still see. The Seahawks, maybe with Byron Murphy. Love him. He's great, but we'll see. It's the depth. It's being literally 8 to 10 deep on the defensive line.
Yeah, and it's almost like relief pitchers. Not everybody's going to be, if I'm playing a bullpen game, not everybody's going to be on. If I throw 9 pitchers, someone's going to have an off day. Well, I've got guys with different skill sets that I might ride the hot hand when I can throw different guys out there too. And, I always laughed at the genius of Vic Fangio. Yeah, it's genius. My 4 guys whipped yours up front. Genius. I always just kind of poke fun at that. I'm like, man, it's a simple game. If my front 4 are beating the hell out of your offensive line, you're in trouble.
It's the baseline of everything. It really is. And it was the baseline of it's not just, the Seahawks being that good on the defensive line, but it was also the Patriots center, left guard, and left tackle being abysmal. And credit to the Patriots, they got there this season. Maybe circumstances of the schedule in front of them, but it is what it is. In the AFC,
I'm not hating on the Patriots for winning their games. It's just that
they're ahead of schedule. They shouldn't have been there.
Again, who should it have been this year? The Broncos were good, but they're probably a year ahead of schedule too. Was there an AFC power that really faced a ton of injuries, or is it just kind of a reset from some of the top teams and their window is closing? Kansas City Chiefs.
That's one they kind of need to reinvent themselves and get some new ideas.
How about, are the Ravens, where were they at this year? I mean, I know I feel like they were on a downslide. They've kind of missed their window a little bit too.
The Bills also, they had a chance this year, but the defense was so bad, and I don't know how Bean kept his job and got a promotion.
I know.
Crazy.
Buffalo Bills fans are pissed.
I would be too.
They're pissed about that.
They didn't even bring in any new ideas. They've promoted internally. I mean, they still have Josh Allen, and they have a top 3 offensive line. We'll see. But
Curtis follows up, says good morning with his first comment. He says, I see no other way around it. We've got to get a defensive end / edge in order to stay competitive on defense. Yeah. And how I put it, Nick, was all of a sudden the idea of bringing back Arnold Ebiketie and Leonard Floyd, who are usable pieces. I mean, I don't know how to make that sound, but they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're functional. Serviceable. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. They're serviceable pros. You just can't overpay them and have them, pay them what they're worth. And if Ebiketie's on $3 million in that neighborhood as a backup, okay, that's all right. Leonard Floyd played well. His numbers weren't as great, but when I saw Leonard Floyd out there, he was influencing games. Can he do that one more year? You might have to roll the dice to find out. Would he want to come back? Maybe. He's from this area, so those guys. And if you get that, then okay, now I've got 2, 3, and 4. I probably can't get a 1 in this offseason. And I know people are talking about, there's some betting site that talked about Max Crosby to the Falcons. Man, I threw that out there after Kirk Cousins, threw for 722 yards against the Buccaneers. They wanted Max Crosby. Then the idea then would have been to try and trade Michael Penix for Max Crosby, and Falcons fans lost their minds. I'm like, this is what happens when somebody puts on a uniform and goes from a pick to a player, your player, because Michael Penix hadn't done anything, hadn't thrown a competitive pass from the time he was the number 8 selection to the time I said, hey, Raiders liked Michael Penix. You need an edge. Kirk's playing out of his mind. And if you had offered the number 8 pick to the Raiders on draft night for Max Crosby, the league would have laughed you out of the room. So, I mean, that's when we talk about, the personal aspect. Oh, man, who can you get in a trade? Well, people that you don't want to give up. Bijan Robinson, Drake London. There's an emotional attachment to these guys once they put on put on the red and black. So Crosby doesn't make any sense to me at all. Who are you trading in order to get Max Crosby?
Well, they are changing the rules, Scott, where you can maybe trade up to 5 years in the future draft picks instead of 3. I don't love it personally, but
I don't want to go 3 years without a first round pick. That's not any fun.
Yeah, no, you guys are
Max Crosby's. He's on the way down too.
Yeah, you guys. Let's call it as is. It was a good team last season, but you probably next year is a evaluation season on Penix, and ideally then you're talking about a competitive window in 2027, which stinks because of Bijan Robinson and like the window with him, but it just kind of is what it is, I guess. Yeah, but I think anything will be gravy. If we are a year from now, you have your first round pick and you win 11 games, then it may be time to talk about pushing the chips to the table. But this season probably seems like a alignment season and figuring out who stays and who goes with a lot of the pieces in there, which is fine.
It's a figure out where you are, because we're not sure. We're not sure where this team is right now. Stefanski is a question mark too. I mean, there's too many question marks to go swinging big for this team to make a win now type of move. Got into a discussion last night again about Kyle Pitts. That wasn't a bad pick. I'm like, it was a bad pick. Well, somebody gave it. Chad Roeder gave it an A+. I'm like, those same idiots were the ones calling it a win now move because they didn't have any idea about the roster construction of the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, if you were in a win now window, getting Kyle Pitts might have been a better move, but you had an aging, expensive, declining quarterback. Your offensive line was terrible in 2020, and your defense was even worse. You can't make a win now pick.
No, doesn't make sense.
In those situations, doesn't make any sense.
No, and your capital isn't. I know you hate the word, Scott, but it's a good way to think about like the value of the conglomeration of your picks. is not very high. So you're not really in a position to
No, yeah,
be
for this year, no. That's why
aggressive
we say,
buyer.
well, Michael Penix will get a chance just by default.
Yeah.
Because there's not going to be a free agent that comes in that will automatically have a price tag that demands that he plays. And the highest you're going to get a quarterback is not high enough.
No.
All right. Good morning, John. Thank you for being a member. Unbeatable. Also, a dear member says, good morning, Scott and Nick. If Tyler Algier leaves, what do you think about getting Nick Chubb, maybe a cheap deal on a running back too? Non-guaranteed money, I'd be okay with that. But I don't want to have any problems with releasing him if need be. And I know I advocate for guaranteed money, but the reality is you don't have to guarantee money. And I wouldn't want him on guaranteed money. I want a rookie, Bijan, and if Carlos Washington comes back, he's been a practice squad guy and he's a veteran, knows the culture and everything. But Chubb on a non-guaranteed money would be fine, but I'm not going to spend, again, I'm not going to invest resources into running back 2 right now. If Bijan goes down, you're screwed, period. Doesn't matter who you bring in. So it's the way I'd look at it. So I'm not against it, but it'd have to be dirt cheap.
You're talking Vetman, and you're probably talking the third phase of free agency, like after the draft has come and gone. Like we saw he got replaced in, was it Houston last season by 5th round pick Woody Marks. So
that might have been who I was thinking of, one of the rookies, and not the Rams. Well, it definitely wasn't the Rams because
no,
it was Houston was the second one, not the Rams.
Yeah, and
thank you.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because he was so talented, but he's just had so many injuries at this point. And I know he knows the system, but you're talking again. It's June, July. We have a spot still. We didn't really come away in the draft or free agency filling totally how we want. Let's just get a warm body in here. That's just the reality of 75% of running backs.
Chris, good to see you. Says, good morning, Scott and Nick, along with everyone watching. That's all y'all, and listening. So good morning to y'all listening to after the fact. The audio side of the podcast is growing too. Despite an upgrade in talent, it seems like we still have a lot of needs. I think our free agency signings will definitely impact our upcoming draft. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's players there. The cupboard isn't bare. There's a nice core here, but it feels like there is a big difference between the best players and the next tier of players on this team. There's no middle class on this team. The blue collar guys that win you championships, where Nick and everybody else likes to say the floor of this team. Once you get past Drake London, there is a massive drop off. The first 5 on offensive line are solid, but after that, it gets a little bit more questionable. I think Dwayne Ledford covered some things up. The defensive backfield and linebackers, the back 7 especially, Nick, on defense was where the depth was just abysmal. And frankly, I think you needed upgrades at the cornerback position also. I think D had a really good year, and I think he is a good 5'6" guy in the defensive backfield, not necessarily a starting nickel. Billy Bowman was solid, especially against the run with his safety mentality, but he was injured a lot. And then I think Mike Hughes is a solid 3, not necessarily a 2. But there are avenues to address a lot of those positions, Nick. And I think you got to come out of free agency with a wide receiver, defensive tackle, and a corner. And you got to come out of the draft with a wide receiver, defensive tackle, and a corner. Now edge.
It'll be hard. Those are positions that you draft because the talented ones very rarely hit free agency. Maybe like once every 4 years you get a Danielle Hunter type, but it's pretty rare. So again, and when you're paying a premium on that as well. So we'll see. Again, this team feels like they have, I don't know if this fan base wants to hear it from me, but low expectations entering the season or little expectations. It's an evaluation year. You have talent, and it's not necessarily the worst place to be because if they exceed, 500, you're exceeding expectations. So we'll see what it looks like. But it's a figure it out season, especially for what they want to be offensively.
We do member only content. I didn't say only like fans. What are you talking about, Halsey? I'm not
Yeah.
taking anything away, but I am adding things, and because I gotta make a living. I have to make a living, so I'm adding things for members. So I'm doing more content. We're not taking anything away. Everything that has been free is staying free. Corey says, what are the chances Lee Hunter is there at 48? He was on, Mel Kiper released his top prospects. Didn't make the first round grouping, but he is the number 2 defensive tackle on Mel Kiper's defensive tackle rankings. But we've seen defensive tackles. What was it? Christian Barmore? Didn't he go around 40 as the first defensive tackle taken that year?
I do think that the value is shifting for defensive tackles. Maybe we were a little bit ahead there, Scott. I've been banging the defensive tackles as valuable as edge, table for a bit. And I think we've kind of started to see that as well. Is Lee Hunter available there at 48? I think that's very possible. There's going to be a lot of tackles. I think defensive tackles go between pick 20 and 50. I think that's probably the sweet spot of this class as well. You're talking about Lee Hunter, Caden McDonald, certainly possible in that range. Christian Miller is also another name. I'm sure Caleb Banks, depending on his medicals. So yeah, defensive tackle, I think, is certainly possible at 48. And because it's such a metric-based position as well, take the biggest, longest, freakiest athletes you can on those spots, as long as, the head checks out. Probably wait until the combine to sort some of these guys out. The tape matters the most, but some positions, the testing matters more. So let's see what they look like in, the 10-yard split and the jumps. I think people underrate the general people. We love seeing the 40-yard dash, Scott, but really football's a game of explosiveness.
Yeah, the explosives are big. And where can I find that? I can find that I can find agility in elk cone and shuttles. Mm-hmm. And then I can find explosiveness in broad jumps and vertical leap on there. And I can train 0.2 of a second off the 40, based on your start.
And the 10-yard split also, that's a really good indicator. They might as well stop at 10 for some of these positions, because do I care about my nose tackles?
That's the part you can train, is the start. That's the part you can train up as much as anything. I mean, anyway, that's a different discussion we're not going to get into today. But we said, if you don't like a kid coming out of Gwinnett County when he's coming out of Gwinnett County, you're not going to like him at all, because he's had personal trainers since he was 12. Mm-hmm. So let me hit a couple of the questions here coming in. And AJ, I see you coming too. You'll be up next. Javier Zepeda asks, morning, y'all. Morning, right back at you. Any late round blocking tight ends? Nick, this is right up your alley. And I do, while you're gathering your thoughts on that, I want to say hello to a couple people that have come in from out of town. Russ Irving, a dear member. Good afternoon from the wet and gray United Kingdom. And then Eddie Dingle coming in from Vietnam. And he was asking about Max Crosby. And I think we hit on that one. I just don't see where that makes any sense for this team right now. They're not in a win now window, and you're not going to make a move like that for a Max Crosby. Even if you had a first round pick, I don't think you're in the window to try and get a Max Crosby. You're in find out and build right now, as opposed to, oh yeah, we're there. We're going to make a Micah Parsons move because we think he's the difference. And he might have been the difference for Green Bay, but he got hurt too. Mm-hmm. So no, but for Javier, what do you got, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where tight ends so weird, because they're not, we might always spiel about tight ends as tight ends and linebackers. How they're used in college football isn't necessarily how they're used in the NFL. The spacing is different because of the hash marks and the quality of the pass game in general. So it is a really hard position to evaluate. And for tight ends, a lot of times you want to take the biggest, best athletes that show like yards after catch, broken tackle ability as well. So we'll see. They have to have the mentality. I'm also becoming if you don't block at tight end, GTFO. I don't care, because you're not helping me create angles, influence personnel and coverage, blah, blah, blah. But one who stands out, a few who stand out to me, somebody in the chat already mentioned him. He's more of a fullback, but Riley Netkowski from Indiana. He played tight end, walk on, I believe, at Wisconsin, transferred to Indiana, and he's going to be more fullback. But my God, Scott, he is a weapon as a blocker. I'm imagining in this class, because we've talked about the lack of depth, in a lot of classes he maybe goes round 6 because, again, he's probably a fullback at the end of the day, and he's not like an explosive pass catcher option. But this class, somebody's probably going to have a pet love of him. I could see him going round 4 or 5 because of that. Somebody who I think is, when I put on the tape, I'm like, oh, this guy's got some juice, is Lance Mason from Wisconsin. I haven't heard many people talk about him yet. He stands out. I like Oscar Delp from, again, talking about the athletes at the position who are physical. He stands out to me. Georgia's other tight end also, I think, is pretty interesting and good. His name's escaped me off the top of my head. Eli Raridan from Notre Dame. If his medicals check out, I think he is interesting. And also we saw him at the Senior Bowl. He's a little bit a harder one to evaluate because his arms are so short. So even though he blocks well, I don't think he can live at Y attached to the line of scrimmage, because defensive ends with length are going to own him at the point of engagement, right? Like if they're always beating you to the punch because of their length and controlling you, I don't know if you can live attached to the line of scrimmage. You have to be a little bit more of a H-back type. So Sam Roush from Stanford as well, if his arms are actually as short as they measured at the Senior Bowl. His tape says he might be able to, but I worry about actual NFL length at edge. So those are a few names that stand out to me. But one who came onto my radar soon again was Lance Mason, who is interesting from Wisconsin.
All right. Let me hit AJ, and then we're going to get into a mock draft. And as Edge became I got Zion Young. I took him because I was like, he's too good not to take. And we did that on Friday, and then the news broke Saturday night. I'm like, well, now Zion Young looks like a wonderful pick. And then someone says, yeah, wait until you find out about his off-the-field concerns. I went, oh, crap. You got a DUI in December. What are you thinking, man? So, little lack of judgment in there possibly, but again, things you can come back from. Again, the blessing here is that no one was hurt. AJ, thank you for being a member and the super. He says, Nick, any thoughts on John Franklin Myers to Atlanta? And Scott, thoughts on Max Iannaccio? He anchor. Let's flip those, because I want Nick to take the offensive tackle, and I want to take John Franklin Myers first. So the Denver Broncos have been really, really aggressive about re-signing their own. And they did not attempt to re-sign John Franklin Myers. So I think they've already come to the conclusion that that's where they're going to try and save a little bit of money in this offseason and invest in other areas of the team. So I think John Franklin Myers, who was an excellent player, as a good inside-outside guy, would be an excellent addition for this team. And he shouldn't be uber expensive. I don't think he'll be in the 20 million range. He'll be affordable for a team like the Atlanta Falcons and would be a number one type of guy. The dirty secret, Nick, nobody really talks about this Falcons defensive line, apologies. Rook wasn't that good. Rook did not have a very good season this year. The ability is still there. It was his first year in the NFL. I get it. He took a red shirt, so it was a red shirt freshman. He struggled a bit. Okay, Brandon Dorlus just made him look bad. That's all. And John Franklin Myers coming in to be sort of a not Grady, David Onyemata replacement would be good, but the Falcons still need that 320 guy to come in, Nick.
Again, you can never have enough pass rushers across the defensive lines. I wonder if John Franklin Myers, where he will be in his career, he's either going to go to a team. You're not going to get him at a discount. Let's just put it that way. He's either going to go to a team that's in a competitive window and maybe take, $1-2 million off AAV, or he's going to go to the team that blows other teams out of the water contract wise. And I don't know if the Falcons are in a position where they want to be doing that. I feel like you're trying to sign guys that are going to help your core for 2027, 2028, more than 2026. And John Franklin Myers, third contract guy, very useful piece. I would probably be trying to put that money in a budget where I'm retaining Zach Harrison as opposed to bringing in John Franklin Myers personally, just where you're at, with the team building phase and what we saw from Zach Harrison this season in this defense. A lot of potential there at that 4-eye spot. So again, if you can get him in here, I think you should be always looking to add defensive line talent. But I'm not sure if he is the exact one I would be targeting right now. But the other aspect is there's not a lot of 3-4 defensive lineman body types in this upcoming draft.
And
So if you're
there's
looking
the familiarity with Jeff Ulbrich is another dot that people are connecting there.
Yep. So we'll see. It's very possible there. And then Max as well. We'll see about him. It's a pretty shallow offensive tackle class on the whole. Offensive tackle is like one of the few positions where we kind of saw it with Will Campbell in the draft. There are very specific thresholds that you need to meet, even though, interior offensive line value is skyrocketing. It's just the scarcity of the body type and athleticism for tackle. So even though Max didn't play football until JUCO, I think, and he's very raw, he's just one of the, only so many body types walking the earth that have that skill set, athleticism build. So I don't think he's going to make it to round 2. Personally, I think somebody's going to eat him up either the first 5 picks in the second round or the last 10 in the first round.
And he's the one that you need him to be either a second rounder or a late first, and not a high first where they want to play him right away. It sounds like, Nick.
Yeah.
And then they struggle. Wow, this guy was terrible. Yeah, he wasn't ready. We didn't. He got selected by a bad team and they forced him in before he was ready. We don't need that.
Yeah. Yep.
So Lance, appreciate you coming in. Lance is also a member for us. He says the other tight end is Lawson Lucky. Is that
right?
I mean, how many Luckies can there be? That's got to be some relation to the UGA Luckies, right?
And he returned. Yeah, he returned. You guys got it right. You're right. I just remember him being good this season, but I didn't pay attention to every single guy in and out. So you're right.
Good for him. Let's go to the entire screen. We're going to switch it up just a little bit this time. We're going to go to apologies, this doesn't show up great on mobile. So if you want to switch over to the other one and go landscape, you might see it just a little bit better. But we'll go 7 rounds, and it's cool. I don't know if they've always done this, but I just noticed it, Nick. Pro Football Network lets you go to a consensus rankings.
Nice.
So the draft that you want to choose, it lets you choose PFSN, ESPN, PFF, or The Athletic. We're going to go consensus on this, and we're going to go draft speed. We're going to go fast, and we've got 7 rounds. And we're going to hit enter and go solo draft. And we're not going to trade up. So our first possible selection will be at 48. And you know who's been there? I actually traded down. Lee Hunter was still there. The trade offers I receive are all 2027s. And I'm like, I'm not trading 48 for 120 and then a slew. Now, if this was real life, I might.
Yeah, I probably, especially because you don't know about your quarterback. This is quarterback.
If this was real life and I got offered 2/3, a second, and a fourth, but 3 of those pick are next year, I might do that. Because again, we've talked about we're not necessarily in our window right now. Let's load up for 2027 and beyond. This is kind of a let's get to know everybody, meet and greet type of season for 2026 for me. As opposed to when Raheem came in. And why did Raheem only get 2 years? Because Raheem Morris came in with the expectations of going to the playoffs. I don't think that's the expectations internally and realistically for this Atlanta Falcons team in 2026. Now, they'll talk up a good game. They'll say all those things, but that's not where this team realistically is right now because got too many questions at too many key spots, including quarterback. So
table setting here.
I can counter that too, but I don't think, Green Bay's got, unless they traded it and they traded 51. But yeah, Green Bay had like a pick but I don't want their next pick's 20, so I'm not taking that one. So if I hit where'd it go? Trade offer. I'm gonna reject that one because I want to pick sooner than that. But that's not a bad one. I can do a pick swap with Jacksonville 48 and 114, and I move up 35 spots by dropping down 8. In what looks like the 3rd round. That's not all bad. Let's see if I can maybe get a late one in there too. I did. So I added a 6th round pick and moved down just a few spots. I don't want to get crazy in here because we can trade down constantly.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. We'll just see. If we get anything we can't turn down. Then, but this one wants to offer you 2027s galore. We could load up on 2027. But our first pick, when we trade down, we're out of the top 50 now, and our top picks on the board, Nick, are linebacker, corner, safety, defensive tackle, defensive end. Overton's more of a defensive end than an edge to me.
Like a 3-4. body type. Yeah.
Connor Lew is coming off of an ACL injury too, and I don't know how much that's affected his stock, but I'm not necessarily looking at center. Wide receiver, corner. I missed on. Let's see, what did I miss by trading down? Safety. There's Iheanacho.
Yep.
I'm going to butcher his name. I'm sure of it.
And Omar Cooper Jr. I probably would have stayed put given the board. We didn't even look at the board.
So we traded down just because we wanted to trade down.
Yeah.
Blake Miller, offensive tackle. Bunch of offensive tackles there. And then wide receiver and a corner.
Yep.
So where do you want to go here, Nick?
Given those guys. Can you scroll down a little bit? I'm just curious just to see the names. Keep going. Just anybody.
Jacoby Lane's ranked high on this one. Good. I like that. He wasn't in the top 10 on I don't think he was even in the honorable mention on Kuipers, and I think Jacoby Lane is freaking good.
Yeah. There's Jackets.
Jackus would be a good later pick at edge right there.
Yakis, whatever. Akis. I think it's Akis. I think the J is silent.
Okay.
Keep scrolling down.
If I'm looking this low, Nick, I'm trading back down.
I know. I think the one who stands out here is Darnell Jackson because of the body type. Or I know it's not a position of value, but I think Jake Galladay
defensive tackle is.
I'm just going to say the top on the board. Jake Galladay is very good as well. Those are the two.
Okay. Apologies, I interrupted. Yep. Which I want to do.
Yep. So I think the defensive tackle.
We'll go defensive tackle here in our pick. They say wide receiver, corner, offensive tackle, offensive center, and defensive tackle. I don't think offensive center is a huge need for this team.
No.
Can't ever remember his name, but Ryan Newsel is adequate.
Fine.
Yeah, he's not an oh my God, we've got to fix this or else our season is over.
Yeah.
We've seen guys like that. We watched Jalen Mayfield play left guard for the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so we decided to go defensive tackle here.
And I'm fine with that. I think that's a fine get.
I'm not trading for 27s. Pick 82 and a 27. No. But let's see if we can, maybe move down. See, we got two spots here, 79, 81. I don't need to move down. Julian Neal, the corner, is still here. The top-ranked corner is still there. I want a corner and I want a wide receiver.
He definitely is interesting to me. If we hadn't taken a defensive tackle there, Dominique Orange would stand out. Eli Stowers, it depends on if you want to keep Kyle Pitts or not, because he's kind of a hybrid wide receiver type. So we'll see. I thought Ted Hurst, Scott, I mean, you can tell me or not. He's obviously somebody who's pretty raw, basketball player, but his ability to flip his hips and decelerate is pretty darn good. A developmental guy for sure. Honestly, the one who stands out here for me, it would depend on what you think of his mentality. But Isaiah World is one of the few who actually, has the body type to play tackle.
Then I got another pick at 81, so I can take that's one of the benefits of trading down, y'all. I can take a couple swings.
I think Isaiah World might be, again, this is a table setting year, and you give yourself flexibility with offensive tackle going forward. So he's one.
And again, remember, this is also coming after free agency, so I've got to have wide receivers. I have to.
Yeah.
So maybe I've addressed wide receiver. I'm looking at this going through all my mocks going, I better spend a little bit more money on wide receiver in free agency. But yeah, because I got another pick right away, and the cornerback went with the next pick.
That's okay. Is what it is. Just a mock.
Pick 88. I might as well move down now and go pick 117. I'll take that. I'll move down 7 spots to move up 80 spots.
Second Jags trade.
Yeah, really. Thank you, Jacksonville. Now I'm done trading.
Yeah, we got to move.
I'm done trading. So the corner, I still have a corner from Cal. And then Ted Hurst is still there, your wide receiver that you said you liked the upside on. So we can go that direction.
I like Sam Hecht. Oh, he just went. Okay.
I did. I took it. Sam Hecht was he was a center, wasn't he?
Yes, and pretty good. I know that people like Duke. Oh gosh, what's his name? Duke Mayfield, maybe the big trainer for offensive linemen. He's a big fan of him as well.
Here's if I need a running back, Mike Washington is someone that it looks pretty good, and I've just made a few trade downs, and I need a running back.
You know what? Mike Washington would be good here. The guy who stands out for me here is Josiah Trotter. I think he is a glass eater between the tackles.
I need linebackers too.
I like him a good bit. I think he's got a lot of value.
Definitely the linebackers too. And then day 3, we've moved up several times.
Might as well take
top
a
guy on
shot
the board is a wide receiver. The next guy's a wide receiver. I think now we get a wide receiver, dude.
Yep. Yeah. Take the top board wide receiver. Cyrus Allen stood out a few times this year with Sorsby out there. He definitely anymore. Interests me.
And it wouldn't kill me to go 2 wide receivers. Colt, Cameron Ball, no. Adam Randall is interesting. He's interesting. Adam Randall, if y'all haven't seen him play at Clemson, he was, I thought, one of the better players at the Senior Bowl too. He is a 6'2", 230-pound converted wide receiver and played running back and was probably Clemson's offensive MVP this year. So keep an eye on Adam Randall. If somebody Cordero Patterson's him this late, I'd take him in the 3rd or 4th, honestly, just because of the weapon that he is.
Take him now. Yeah, take him.
All right.
Need another running back in here.
Because he could probably return kicks too. But he's selfless. He's big. He's fast. He's good. How do we only have 6 picks?
Because it was always pick flips. You were moving up that last pick for moving down that first pick.
All right. So I come out of this with 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. That's not right. We took 2 running backs. I took Mike Washington. That's not showing everything. I know
didn't take Mike Washington. You took Josiah Trotter instead.
Did we?
Yep.
Well, then we needed Adam Randall. That was a great pick then.
Yeah.
All right. So what I didn't get my cornerback again. Falcons still haven't taken a day 1 or day 2 corner since AJ Terrell. But we got defensive tackle. We got a developmental offensive tackle. We got a pair of wide receivers, linebacker, running back. That means I better had hit cornerback and gotten some edge help in free agency.
But you took a lot of swings with your first picks. I don't like how it's up down, Scott. Also, I was reading it. I'm like, we took Ted Hurst with our 2nd pick. No, it's our 3rd because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be across. Anyway, your first 3 picks were all value spots. And you, much to what we were preaching here, next year is kind of an evaluation season. Your defensive tackle and your offensive tackle, that's helping raise the floor on some expensive positions that are probably going to bring you a bit more value in 2027 than 2026. So again, you guys, it's a down draft class on the whole, and the Falcons are not, flush with draft picks unless they want to trade, tag and trade Pitts, or we'll see. But right now, I think this is realistic. I think, Scott, given where the board was at, I know you wanted to trade down, but with Omar Cooper Jr. and Max, whatever his last name is, from Arizona State, I probably wouldn't have traded down just because I think those guys they stand out. But
we still got we got 1 extra pick out of this, and then we ended up moving up our late picks.
Yep.
Instead of we moved up twice, I think, from 122 and 117. Avion Terrell will probably go on the 1st round cornerback. That's AJ's little brother at Clemson. And Leon, I agree, says need a gap quarterback. Again, I'm not above taking a Cade Klubnik. The guy I like, though, is Cole Payton out of NDSU. If he's around 6th, 7th round, I think he's got the most upside on this. He's only 1-year starter, and he was the first guy I would take out of the Senior Bowl, Nick. He's a friggin' unit. He can run. He's 230 pounds, and he had the best, not the best arm, because that was the Arkansas kid, had the best arm. But I thought best is relative. He didn't have the strongest arm, but he did have the best arm because he could mix velocity with accuracy consistently. So I might go Cole Payton if I could. Tim Keaton is a body. I wasn't overly impressed with him at Senior Bowl. He's okay. But I wasn't feeling him like, Braden Fisk coming out. I'm like, my God, this guy is killing people. That was Zion Young. That was Derek Moore, a little bit out of Michigan. Couple of big Zion Young's a little bit bigger. He's going to play 270. So he's
more your classic 4-3 end.
Yeah, a little bit more versatile in there. So so good stuff. Yeah, AJ, I'd be happy with this draft. Okay. It's not my favorite one. It's not my favorite one, but we kind of rushed through it a little bit too, and we could have done some more wheeling and dealing. But it also goes to show you how important free agency is going to be when it comes to filling needs. The draft is really for trying to get as many good players as you can and maximizing their rookie deals and maximizing the salary cap. and you fill needs with free agency. The big needs on this team are defensive tackle, corner, wide receiver. I expect at least one of those and linebacker. But I would expect corner, wide receiver, and defensive tackle to be signed during free agency before the NFL draft on that one, Nick.
Overall, yeah, each of those picks we took was probably – I think the defensive tackle you bring in immediately changes the defense because he's actually, your 330 massive guy who won't move on base downs. But World and Hurst specifically are – we'll get you in here. We're going to get you in the program. We're going to develop you, and you're hopefully going to be a key part 2027 going forward. Maybe the back half of 2026 even. We'll see. But, it's – again, that's just kind of the reality where the Falcons are at right now. And we'll see if they make any moves to further emphasize the direction either way.
Yeah, so we're going to get out of here. I want to say thank you to our members and Super Chat Superstars and all y'all who come in and hit the like and the thumbs up button on those. It's a huge help for everybody watching, too, so we can find more Falcons fans out there. Curtis, thank you, my friend. Javier, AJ coming in, Lance as well. And then I will be back on Friday morning, 8:30, to do a mock draft again with y'all and discuss any news. Obviously, we talk as much as we want to talk. It's our show. We'll do what we want, right? If you're not a member, give it a shot. You can probably do a 7-day free trial or whatnot and see what you think. But we haven't lost. The membership keeps growing, and it hasn't gone down. Most people that have become members have stayed members, and I thank you very much for that. It means a lot. And we're going to get out of here. I'll see y'all on Friday. Y'all stay dry out there. Stay cool. Enjoy some baseball. I'm going to have a little baseball on Thursday, and then I'll see y'all on Friday. Thanks for being here, y'all. Have a great rest of your day.
Peace.